afternoon and welcome to the ISPO OPT Stage 3 information session. My name is Emily Kawahara and I am an International Student Advisor here at ISPO. So we are going to discuss how to maintain your F1 status while your OPT is pending, and we're going to explain how to report your employment once your OPT application is approved by USCIS. On your screen, you should see the homepage of the International Students and Programs Office webpage. You can always find this webpage by typing istudents.ucsd.edu into your browser. There are a few ways to navigate to the OPT webpage. You can always select the Working section in the Advising drop-down menu, or you can scroll down on the homepage and select Working in the United States. Let's select Working in the Advising drop-down menu. You will come to the Working landing page on your screen, which gives you a few options for the type of work you want to learn more about. Select the option for Working after graduating. You will then come to the landing page for the types of work authorizations available to UCSD students on the F1 visa and the J1 visa. OPT is the work authorization available for students on the F1 visa. Please select F1 post-completion optional practical training. Next, you will see three options: initial 12-month OPT, 24-month STEM OPT extension, and CAP-GAP extension for H-1B visa applicants. We will be discussing the reporting process for the initial 12-month OPT. Even if you are in a STEM field, you will not be applying or reporting for the 24-month STEM OPT extension at this time. The 24-month STEM OPT extension is an application that eligible students can submit in their final 3 months of the initial 12 months of OPT. So think of it this way: the 24-month STEM OPT application is an extension, so you must apply, be approved, maintain your status for the 12-month OPT in order to then have something to extend. So let's select the initial 12-month OPT option. As you can see, ISPO has broken the OPT timeline into 3 stages. Stage 1 discusses how to request the OPT I-20 from ISPO. Stage 2 discusses how to compile an OPT application and mail the application to USCIS. Stage 3 discusses how to maintain your F1 status while your OPT application is pending with USCIS, and how to maintain your F1 status once your OPT application is approved. In this webinar, we will only be addressing Stage 3. You can attend multiple OPT Stage 3 information sessions to be sure you are up to date on reporting requirements. So let's learn more about Stage 3. Let's first review Step 1, Receive Documents from USCIS. Once you have submitted your complete OPT application to USCIS, you will receive specific documents that you must keep for your records. Remember, these documents will be mailed to the address you listed as your mailing address on your Form I-765. About 2 to 4 weeks after USCIS receives your OPT application, you will receive the I-797C receipt notice. The receipt notice will have your case number, 3 letters followed by 10 numbers, and a USCIS customer service phone number. You can use the case number to check your status through the USCIS webpage. If you submitted the Form G1145 with your OPT application, which was an optional form, you likely will have already received an email with your case number. However, the physical I-797C receipt notice is the official documentation you need to keep for your records. If you do not receive the receipt notice after 4 weeks, contact ISPO. Typically, you will receive the I-797 approval notice within 90 days from the date USCIS received your OPT application. This approval notice confirms that your OPT application has been approved, and it also confirms your official OPT start date and official OPT end date. While your OPT application is pending, after you receive the receipt notice and before you receive the approval notice, you might receive a request for further evidence, otherwise known as an RFE. The RFE is sent if the USCIS officer reviewing your OPT application believes your application is missing information or needs additional evidence to support the information you have already provided. Be sure you read the RFE thoroughly to understand what is being asked of you. You will need to reply to the RFE with the requested documentation. If you have questions about your RFE, you can bring it to ISPO to meet with a walk-in advisor. All right, on to step 2, wait for USCIS to adjudicate your request. While your OPT application is pending with USCIS, there are some things you are eligible to do, like travel within the U.S. You are also eligible to participate in volunteer opportunities. Volunteer opportunities are not the same as work without pay. In true volunteer opportunities, no one is being paid or compensated for their work or service. This is okay to do. When your OPT application is pending, it is also a good time to research the industries and companies you are interested in. You can use the UCSD Career Center tools and advising. While your OPT application is pending with USCIS, there are some things that you are not eligible to do as well. Firstly, once your academic program ends, you are no longer eligible for on-campus employment without a work authorization. If you have an on-campus job for after your academic program ends, you must wait to begin your employment until you have your EAD card. Additionally, you are not eligible to work off-campus past a CPT end date and program end date until you have your EAD card. Lastly, you should not participate in work without pay, which is when an individual works in a position that should offer payment but does the work for free. Often, students ask if they are eligible to travel internationally while their OPT application is pending. ISPO advises that students do not travel internationally while they have a pending OPT application. Please look at Scenario 1. In Scenario 1, Je has mailed her OPT application to USCIS and her academic program completion date is in the future. She goes to Mexico for a quick weekend trip. Je can return to re-enter the U.S. because her I-20 is still valid since the academic program is in the future. However, the OPT application that is pending with USCIS contains her I-94, which is an electric travel document, and contains an I-765, which details travel and reentry information. This means the information in her SEVP record and the information in her OPT application do not match. In this case, she might receive an RFE, which could prolong the adjudication timeline. Now look at Scenario 2. In Scenario 2, David has mailed his OPT application to USCIS, and he has already completed his academic program, so his program completion date is in the past. He flies home to Australia and then flies back to the U.S. to wait for his EAD card. David will likely have issues trying to re-enter the U.S. at the port of entry. David's I-20 reflects the program end date, which is in the past. Without the EAD card showing the OPT approval, the officer at the port of entry may not allow David to re-enter, even if David has a receipt notice. As you can see, traveling internationally while your OPT application is pending with USCIS is a risk. If you must travel internationally while your OPT application is pending with USCIS, please come meet with an ISPO advisor. Students should not apply for the OPT I-20 unless they are certain that they are completing their academic program within 90 days. However, occasionally there are situations when a student submits the OPT application to USCIS and then realizes they are not, in fact, completing their academic program on time. If this is the case, you must immediately meet with an ISPO advisor. You might need to withdraw your OPT application and extend your program end date. If you receive a rejection notice or denial notice from USCIS, please email iEmployment immediately. You might still be eligible to reapply for OPT. Now let's move to step 3, receive your EAD card. This is an example of the front and back of an EAD card. If you receive your EAD card and there is an error, you will need to mail the EAD card back to USCIS with a replacement EAD card application. Please reference the Employment Authorization Document webpage on the USCIS website for instructions. If the error was made by USCIS, you will not need to pay a fee. Be sure you keep a photocopy of the incorrect EAD card for your records. As of April 30th, 2018, replacement EAD cards must be received in person. Please review these mailing options to ensure that your replacement EAD card is properly collected. If you do not receive your EAD card in 90 days, this may be a result of longer pending periods. Students can submit a USCIS request, an electronic request, for outside normal processing times, and can also contact the USCIS Customer Service Center directly. If your EAD card was lost in the mail, you may need to apply for a replacement EAD card and should reference the Employment Authorization Document webpage on the USCIS website for instructions. Again, replacement EAD cards must be received in person. Please review these mailing options to ensure that your replacement EAD card is properly collected. If you receive the EAD card but do not receive your requested Social Security card, please contact the Social Security Administration. Let's continue to step 4, begin employment. As a refresher from the OPT Stage 1 webinar, OPT allows for employment in your field of study. You are eligible to participate in employment that is part-time or full-time, and it can be paid or unpaid. You are eligible to work for multiple employers, to be self-employed, or to find employment through an agency. During OPT, you are eligible to not be employed for 90 days. These are called unemployment days. Unemployment days are counted from the valid from date on your EAD card. The valid from date is your official OPT start date. This may be different from the start date you originally requested. Unemployment days are always counted from your official OPT start date, not your requested OPT start date. If you exceed the 90 days of unemployment, your SEVP record is at risk of being automatically terminated by the Department of Homeland Security. If you exceed the 90 days of unemployment, there is no grace period. If you are approaching the 90 days of unemployment, you must take one of the following actions. Either transfer your SEVP record from UCSD to a new institution, change from the F1 status to another status, or depart the U.S. and submit the OPT update form. In all of these cases, you must communicate with an ISPO advisor to ensure that your SEVP record is correctly transferred or terminated. Now, you're probably wondering how USCIS knows if you are working or if you are accruing unemployment days. So let's move on to step 5. Once your OPT application is approved by USCIS and your official OPT start date has passed, you will receive an automated email from SEVP instructing you to set up your SEVP Portal account. You will follow the steps in the email to complete the account setup. Be sure you check your spam or junk email folders for the SEVP email. If you do not receive the automated email from SEVP within 4 weeks from your official OPT start date, or if you get locked out of your SEVP Portal account, please email iEmployment. Now let's move on to step 6, reporting your employment and the SEVP Portal. It is through this SEVP Portal that you will report your employment. You must submit any updates within 10 days of the change. The type of information you can update in your SEVP Portal includes a change in your name, a change in your U.S. address, a change in your employer or location of employment, and any interruptions in your employment. Interruptions in your employment means if you quit one job and start a different job. In this case, you will need to report the date you completed the first job and the date you began the new job. If you would like to change the email address associated with the SEVP Portal, please email iemployment@ucsd.edu for an ISPO advisor to assist you. Let's move on to step 7. When you report employment updates through the SEVP Portal, these changes will reflect in your SEVP record. You may want to request an updated I-20, which reflects your approved OPT request and your current employer information. In order to request an updated I-20, you can submit the appropriate request through iPortal. Remember, travel signatures are valid for 6 months during OPT instead of 12 months, as they are during your academic program. Before submitting the appropriate iPortal request, you will need to verify that your SEVP portal is up to date. On to Step 8, if applicable. You will also use the appropriate iPortal request if you change your immigration status or choose to depart the U.S. and not continue using your OPT that is approved. The next drawer under Stage 3 discusses travel with an approved OPT. As a reminder, you are still maintaining your F1 status during OPT. If you choose to travel internationally during OPT, you must travel with the same documents you brought with you when you traveled during your academic program, with a few additional documents. Be sure you have a passport that is valid for at least 6 months in the future. You will also need a valid F1 visa, an updated I-20 with a valid travel signature, and the EED card. ISPO also recommends that you bring a job offer letter or a support letter from your employer verifying your employment. If your F1 visa is expired, you will need to apply for a renewal when you are outside of the U.S. Students apply for the F1 visa renewal during OPT. Students who are applying for the F1 visa renewal during OPT may face some difficulties, so ISPO recommends students to contact the U.S. consulate in their home country regarding the process and to inquire about additional documents the student should bring to the visa interview. Let's learn about what you do upon completion of your OPT. As you near the completion of your OPT period, you should determine the next appropriate steps for how you either maintain or complete your SEVIS record. Please review the Completing OPT page for more information. This completes the OPT Stage 3 recorded webinar. Thank you for joining us.
Watch more webinars and attend in-person workshops by visiting iwebinars.ucsd.edu.